lie down on the floor. And that gives me some information about the resting length of some of the muscles. So go ahead here, go ahead and lie on your back. Now, as she lies on her back, what I'm kind of curious about as I observe, and as you're on the floor, you want to observe how much of you is touching the floor. So you're an awesome example. She's hardly touching the floor. Can you guys see that? Mm-hmm. And also, what we find here, and is that totally uncomfortable for you? Pinchy in your back?
No, that's what I think I really like extend, like I don't even need to, but I guess that's more relaxed time.
Yeah. Okay, so just wherever you went. And then another thing I like to look at, so those reference markers that I talked about, the pubic bone and that marker on the pelvic crest is, so that marker on the pelvic crest is right here, and the pubic bone is here. So if I can kind of eyeball this, and as I put my hand here, I can kind of feel that this is a little higher than that. Can you guys kind of see that? Mm-hmm. And maybe this side is a little higher, so she kind of rests in a little rotation. So that's all fine. What we want to do here is just notice, observe, give the brain a chance to notice something, because some of this stuff is so just subtle that the brain's not going to know you're doing anything unless you check in before and after, okay? Because we like our endorphin rush. That's why you guys exercise, right? So the brain, the body really likes to get and achieve a goal. So what we're going to do, instead of endorphin rush, we're going to get a different kind of rush of achieving a goal, and that's where we get our feel-good chemicals, okay? Dopamine. So one of the things that we want to also notice is, how are her thighs touching the floor? So her thighs are touching the floor pretty good, but if I had her level this out, so rock your pelvis back a little bit. Oh, that was a little too much. So as she rocked it back so this is level, her thighs kind of came away a little bit. That just lets me know that there's something pulling in that front body that might be creating some of that excessive tilting in the pelvis, okay? So that's not what we're going to address right here directly, but we will a little bit. So what we're trying to do here is just bring more of the muscles into resting length. So the other thing that I want to see is, I want to see what some of her strategies are. So Rio, keep your right leg straight, just lift it off the ground by about a foot. And then down. And a little higher, go like it, okay? And down. And other one. And down. Does one feel heavy or hard to lift?
This one's heavier, much.
Okay, go ahead and lift again. Okay. Now lift both of them. I want you to see what happens, okay? So this is something that, you know, in a lot of exercise programs, we're doing potentially a lot of floor work. That's a big load for her right now. But also that lets me know that that is a strategy that she does when something gets a little rough. And what I can see a lot of times, lift it again. Okay. A lot of times what I can see it in their face when I ask them to do it. They're like, oh man, this isn't gonna be good. And the body's figuring out, the brain is like, I've done this before, I'm gonna do what I know. So part of what we wanna do is untrain this extension and push. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll props. Can you see how I could do a total climbing grip on her ribs here? This is not uncommon because most of us, we're so rigid in our rib cage that when we lay down, it moves as a unit. But if we had more mobility, when she would lay down, it will all just kind of fall in place. So I haven't really met anyone who doesn't do this. Okay. I mean, that's just our society.
Yeah.
Unless you went to Cavalia. Did you guys go to Cavalia?
No.
The amazing show?
No, was it like that too?
It was an amazing show.
I heard it was good.
They were awesome. Okay, so what we want to do first here is just to start making connections. We're going to prop this so it relaxes down. So what we're gonna have her do, can you lift your head and shoulders a
Yeah.
little bit? We're gonna prop something under her shoulders and her head. Can you see how that's
nice.
down? And it usually feels really good.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so this is a downtime position where you're going to start making some of this integration with the muscles. Diaphragm, pelvic floor, abdominal wall. So,
Yeah, that immediately feels better on
Yeah.
my back.
Mhm.
It feels a lot.
yeah. So what we're going to have her do is actually put one hand on your belly, maybe one hand on your chest right now, and go ahead and do like 5 breath cycles. So part of what I like to do is have people breathe, just their regular breath. So now that you went to regular breath, it changed.
That's so different. Yeah. I'm like, it's more like right here than it
Okay.
is in here.
Did you guys notice when she was kind of doing that bigger breath, what was happening here? It was going in. Did you guys see that? So some of the times when we're doing this, I gotta do this cool yoga breath or get the biggest breath ever, we're actually doing the opposite of what we want happening. Because we want, when diaphragm descends, it's creating, it's creating space here, but pressure here. So we need to make room. Abdominal wall rises. Pelvic floor lengthens and drops. So as you breathe in, you're noticing, do I get a belly rise and fall? Yeah, now she does. Now take this hand and go to your pubic area. And then after kind of connecting with that, oh good, now this is moving too. Because a lot of times we can move this, but we're not connected to the lower abdomen. So sometimes that takes a while to connect to. And then after that, we want to connect with pelvic floor. So notice the area from your pubic bone to your tailbone. And as you breathe in, it's doing the exact same thing that this is. Rises and falls. And most people can't feel it, but you can feel it.
Well, now I can. Now
That's
that I'm,
impressive.
Like, aware of
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
That's awesome. So it's like it just moves a little and it just comes back up.
Yeah, it's very slight. But
So it's not like it's a big movement, but that's the piece to connect with. Okay, so the next piece is now what's happening to the other part. So what's happening to the side and to the back. So go ahead and let your hands go, kind of poke yourself in the side like that. And I'm gonna keep my hand here. So now direct your breath to here. So now we have to think a little bit. Push my hands out. There you go. Did you guys see how her muscles quivered? Her body's relearning. Awesome. So now what she's having to do is kind of figure out how to get that direction of her breath into her hands. It's not forcing it, but it's just connecting. So what kind of has to happen, it's like if you imagine blowing into a balloon, everything moves. Everything moves as you inhale. Front, back, side, and down.
It's awesome. It went from like just a little bit of her belly breathing
Yeah.
to now like you can see
Well,
like
'cause
full
I'm, like, focusing on it
expansion.
now, and I'm actually like, oh, I can actually
Yeah.
do
It's really
that.
good.
I want.
So less here to take into the back now. Still let it move though. Okay, now that she's learning something new, she's going into her old strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like trying to think of
And-
how to do it.
and-
Okay.
Yeah, no, and we will always do that, which is, we're so cool. So this takes time. This is like, I know as moms, you guys probably have kids who are jumping. Do you guys have more younger toddlers? So this becomes like trampoline time
Yeah,
on
it's like
mom.
play on mom time.
Yeah. So this might be something like right before bedtime. So The next piece, sometimes I find it hard for people to really connect with the back, so we're gonna do just some breathing to allow it to direct into your back a little bit easier. But before we do that, let's check back in. Let's let the brain perceive a change, okay? So lift up, we're gonna move the props. As you lie back down, do you notice that your back is touching the floor more? So she's let down. That arch in her back has let down a little bit. Her brain is going, I like this feels better, dopamine. And the healing can be reinforced here. Okay, roll over onto your tummy. I like this crocodile pose at your forehead, resting your hands. I like this position because what we have here is, does that hurt your back?
No, why?
You're just kind of arched.
Oh, no, it doesn't hurt. Does it look like it hurts? It doesn't hurt. I mean, my lower back hurts, a lot, but I guess I'm just kind of more used to it than if I'm just sore.
Okay. What I like about this is when she takes her breath in and the belly just lengthens, she hits the floor, so she needs to come back here. So can you do that? Don't force it. But as you take your breath in, you meet the floor, you meet your belly.
With my belly, right? Like my floor meets the belly, or floor.
Belly meets
belly
floor.
meets the floor.
And then you meet your back. Good. So this is a great way to connect into the back and get some length. So usually kind of sinking and tucking back feels good because the muscles are tight. This is a way to permanently get that through breathing practice. So she's connecting into her spine here.
Is it normal for it to, I feel like it's totally going, so I'm breathing in and it's going like this when I breathe in and going like that when I breathe out. Is that how it's supposed to be?
At your ribs or here?
At the bottom. So I'm going
At your pelvic floor?
here's my inhale and here's my exhale. See how it kind of goes out, I kind of go back to this.
Mm-hmm.
I go more extended, so I'm here, and then I kind of go back like that. Is that wrong? Am I
No.
breathing wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
Okay.
So let's have you do two more. And then also, it's nice, I'm going to kind of go to your sits bones. To focus on pelvic floor here, breathing, it's just, a little different. You can kind of imagine this fanning up maybe a little bit. Yeah. Okay, come in. Do you know child's pose in yoga?
I don't know. I guess. Oh, okay, yeah.
So another way, let your knees be closer. So we're blocking the abs so we can get into the back. So go ahead and come down. So again, we're just changing position so she can connect with finding what it's like to go into the back.
Yeah, that feels much better to be like this.
So breathing back into here. So this sequence is nice. It's just a great reset. It's start to connect with the pelvic floor muscles. And this is that first basic step. And then as you're able to connect with that, then you can bring in some of the functional movements. But until you really can connect with this, I don't like to teach the movement with it because we end up going into the bad habits. Or the habits that we have. I shouldn't call them bad because they're great. They work until they don't. So part of what we want to do is just start reconnecting and making new connections there.